Certainly my sense is that it's premature to try and think of governance for deployment, because we're exactly on a trajectory where there's no end in sight to the rise in temperature. And unless and until we're convinced ourselves that we collectively, as human species around the world, will achieve global, at least net zero CO2 emissions, followed by net negative CO2 emissions, which we need to bring temperatures back down again, which is the space where SRM would become a meaningful intervention. Unless and until we achieve that collective sense of action, my sense is that the short answer is it's too early for a serious conversation about SRM deployment. Whether that means a moratorium on deployment and what that then means for, but shouldn't we do research on it, is a question that we have to scan very carefully the space for good faith and bad faith actors, I guess, because there's always people exploiting near-term gains without recognition that ultimately SRM comes back to it's a fundamental global equity question about who has access to it, who benefits from it, who's able to deploy it, and who controls the rules for deployment, who carries liability for when things were to go wrong. But also, how do we manage perceptions? I mean, imagine that a country deploys SRM and then there's a large-scale drought in another country. In an age of rising disinformation, it doesn't matter whether the science says that the drought was or was not related to the SRM deployment. It just fuels, or the risk of fueling societal fracturing at the global scale is very, very large, unless and until we manage to shift ourselves into a space where we can have a mature conversation across countries about how we deploy such things for collective benefit. So I'm very nervous about playing with the potential without recognizing that it's ultimately human actions that make it worthwhile, not whether we understand the effect of aerosols in the stratosphere. I believe there is a lot of things that we learn that's relevant for SRM without undertaking purposeful SRM research, in the sense of better understanding the climate effects of aerosols, different types of aerosols in the atmosphere, is a very live, very important, very actively researched area. We may not benefit from a research question, what if I deployed? We just need to wait for the next big volcanic eruption to get some more insights on that. So I'm hesitant with saying there should be more research right now, because, as I say, my concern is that it could lead to a further fracturing of the need to understand that we need to make progress in a global cooperative space